Good morning, everyone. Just before we get underway for our wonderful launch event today, a few housekeeping matters. If you haven't registered, please do so. It's really important that you've registered for today's event before you get comfortable. I don't think there's anyone else in the lobby, so well done. You're all very punctual. You'll find bathrooms out to your right as you exit this event room, so if you need to go, that's where they are. And in the event of an emergency at all today, please follow the direction of Convention Centre staff. We'll also have a photographer heading around today. If for whatever reason you don't want your photo taken, which is totally fine, please just let either the photographer or one of our wonderful event staff know. I'd now like to welcome Ghana, Ngarrindjeri and Narung man Robert Taylor to the stage for a welcome to country.
Not a bad way to open up the lungs on a Monday morning. How are we today, ladies and gentlemen? We're good, yeah? If it's anything like this beautiful day that we're blessed with, can you say deadly? Deadly. Those of you who know me know I like to use the word deadly, but in a non-venomous way, all right? So, look, it's a pleasure to be here today. It's nice to be back again, actually. I think this is my third time, at this event, which is always a pleasure. I've been looking forward to it since I got the email quite a few months ago, but the years do go so quick, don't they? Time is flying by, so I hope it's been a productive year for each and every one of you. My name's Robert Taylor. As mentioned, I come from 4 Aboriginal groups, the Ngarrindjeri people from the River Murray and the Coorong, the Nangaraku from along the River Murray, out near Swan Reach area, the Narunga people from the York Peninsula, and of course the Ghana people from this wonderful city we live in that we now call Adelaide, yeah? It's a funny word though, isn't it? Adelaide, eh? It's been called Adelaide, I think, for about 40 seconds, I reckon. in the course of history, but for thousands of years, to Kaurna people and surrounding Aboriginal groups, this place has been known as Tarnda Ganya. Can you say that one? Tarnda Ganya. I'm sure many of you are aware of this. So Tarnda is the big red kangaroo, and Ganya means rock. So many years ago, along this wonderful river that we have at the back here, the River Torrens, or Karawirapari, as it's traditionally known, there used to be quite an abundance of rocks. So the river, it used to be a lot more like a big creek, I reckon. But due to colonisation and urban expansion, we've actually sort of damaged the river since the 1800s, and now the river's a lot more wider and a lot more still and no flowing. Also, a lot of the habitat that we used to have down here is actually gone, and we'll never be able to get that back with the wildlife, such as platypuses. A lot of people don't know it, but there used to be an abundance of platypuses down here along the Karawirapari, the Red Gum River, also down along Nyankipari, the Onkaparinga River, and throughout the Adelaide Hills as well. And the pygmy bilby as well was another beautiful little creature that we used to have here. But unfortunately, as I said, due to urban expansion, we can never have these creatures back here. And if we did try to reintroduce them, I think it'll be an epic failure, because the river and the banks are just a little bit too damaged. But to acknowledge country, to stand alongside each and every one of you, it's very important that we speak language. Many of you know our language was on the verge of extinction, as throughout many major cities, I guess, throughout Australia. So we're quite lucky down here on Kaurna country to have been able to revive a lot of the Kaurna language. And that's due to two early missionaries back in the 1800s that actually documented, and they actually wrote the first Kaurna dictionary just across the river here at a place called Piltawadli, which was one of the first schools set up for Kaurna people. So these two missionaries came down and they documented our language, and we're very lucky about 100 years later, maybe 160 years later, it was about 20 years ago, we were able to go back into the archives and actually revive the language down here. So very grateful to those two missionaries by the name of Tykerman and Sherman. So in the spirit of Kaurna, in the spirit of language, I say, Nyanki na miona, na marni. Mani na buni nalaku yarta, Tarnda Ganyanga Karawirapari Kaurna yarta. Na nari Robert Kari Karamil Taylor, na narindri Nangaraki Naranga Kumagana Mirna. Marni Nalu Tampani Gana Mirna, Kumanalu Parna, Yatanga in Brendi, Tamdalu Bukyana, Burkana, Kumagana Mini Yalada. Na Yakanadalia, na Yunganadalia, na Chalia. Ladies and gentlemen, did you understand all that? A little bit? You heard Robert Taylor? That's the easy part, I guess. That's me. That's the thing when we speak in our native tongue, it sort of sounds fast, doesn't it? I've been told that I talk fast anyways. So it's like a chipmunk version, I guess, of when I'm acknowledging country. But to begin with, I said Namarni. Namarni is a basic greeting that we use here in Kaurna language. And if you're well, you reply with Marni I. Please tell me you learnt that from me, not Jack Buckskin. It's all right. Jack's my cousin, brother. It's okay. Nothing wrong with a little bit of healthy competition. So Namarni means are you well? And if you're well, you reply with Marni I. But I also said Mani Nabudni. Mani Nabudni is a term that we use for welcome. We don't actually have a word that means welcome. But Mani Nabudni means glad you come. Yeah? So it's a term that we use to acknowledge everybody when we come together. And it's sort of like spirit talk, I guess. When I travel out of Adelaide to the Riverland, you know them signs that say, welcome to Murray Bridge. It's sort of saying to you, glad you come, yeah? It might be Arndale. I might go down to Arndale, and it says, welcome to Arndale. Saying, glad you come. Pull out your wallet, I guess, you know? But look, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm very big on togetherness. So togetherness is very important. We do live in one of the most multicultural countries in the world. So to stand here today to speak language with you on behalf of my Kaurna elders and ancestors, past and present, it's a pleasure to stand here as a senior ambassador, I guess, to share a little bit of language with you. It's kind of hard trying to cram about 65,000 years worth of history into about 5 minutes. But I do my best, ladies and gentlemen, yeah? I'd just like to acknowledge our ministers and other delegates and dignitaries that are here today as well, joining us, and also all the workers for their hard work that they put in and their continuous ongoing hard work. But we are all VIPs in this room. That's the important thing to remember. I was looking at some of the artwork just outside, and there was one piece that was done by a photographer by the name of Mark, and he had up there, nature is healing. And I loved that. I loved to see that. A few other ones that we've seen out there was hope and adventure. I love them words because expression is very important, but being able to connect what's inside you with what's around you is very important. Sometimes it's them basic expressions, I guess, that can mean so much. So, like, it's fulfilling to see that, and it's a feeling to be here today, to stand in front of you and stand alongside you as we together acknowledge this land that we are gathered on. We don't have a term for goodbye, ladies and gentlemen, because goodbyes are so final. It's like, we're never going to see you again, yeah? But to leave you with a blessing, as I say, see you later, I say, Bukiana mirna yancha yara ku nyarluku yarananku, yancha yara tirapanga nyarluku mirna, tirapanga kuma. In language, I ask my ancestors to call upon the spirit of your ancestors, of whom the shoulders that you walk upon today. I ask them to come together in the spirit world, to be here with us, to sit down with us, as we are in the physical, to bless this land, but equally as important, bless each and every one of you here today, yeah? Just be mindful, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who took photos of me, please be mindful that I want you to share that with everyone you know. All right? Nachalia, thank you very much.
Thank you to Robert Taylor for that very, very warm welcome as we gather on beautiful Kaurna country here today. Now, to help us formally open today's event, I'd like to invite South Australia's Minister for Health and Wellbeing, the Honourable Chris Picton MP, to the stage. Minister, welcome, and thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you very much, Isabel. I don't think Isabel introduced herself. Isabel Damon, your MC today, is one of South Australia's best journalists, who's always nice, even when she's grilling you in a press conference. But she'll be a lot nicer to you today, I'm sure. Firstly, thank you to Robert, and I also acknowledge that we're meeting today on the traditional lands of the Kaurna people and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. But particularly want to thank all of the Brain Injury SA team who are here, and particularly Liz Forsyth, the CEO, but the whole 49 staff who work for Brain Injury SA for the work you do and for putting on today and this very special event. But more broadly, I know that there's a whole lot of different service providers. There's people from SA Health, a whole range of other service providers, but particularly people who have lived experience in terms of brain injury in South Australia. Thank you for being here. Clearly this today is all about you and all about what we can do to raise awareness about brain injury in our community and to be more understanding and to provide better services for people who have brain injury. Today we come together to raise awareness about acquired brain injury, a condition which affects many in our community, yet often remains hidden in plain sight. The host of today's event, Brain Injury SA, is of course an organisation that specialises in supporting people living with acquired brain injury, and I understand now provides support for some 450 South Australians. This includes all people who experience multiple disabilities arising from damage to the brain acquired after birth, resulting in deterioration in cognitive, physical, emotional or independent functioning. Brain injury is a common and significant health issue in Australia, with approximately 1 in 40 Australians living with acquired brain injury. This statistic represents a considerable number of individuals whose lives are profoundly impacted, alongside the lives of their families and support networks, and particularly also acknowledge all of the family members and supporters who are here today who help people each and every day. The challenges they face are far-reaching, touching every aspect of their daily lives. A brain injury can alter one's ability to walk, run, talk, care for oneself, work, study, or enjoy the simple pleasures like eating your favourite foods. The impact extends beyond the physical, affecting emotional and psychological well-being and often leading to substantial lifestyle changes. In South Australia, we're fortunate to have a variety of services. Of course, Brain Injury SA, but also through SA Health, we have the South Australian Brain Injury Rehabilitation Service. This dedicated team of doctors, nurses, allied health professionals and support staff provide compassionate, consumer-focused rehabilitation in the purpose-built new 24-bed facility at the REPAT. In 2023 alone, this incredible team supported over 140 patients, helping them navigate the challenging journey of recovery. However, the journey after a brain injury does not end upon leaving the hospital. And recognising this, the Brain Injury Rehabilitation Community and Home Program, known as the BIRCH program, plays a critical role in supporting individuals as they continue to strive towards their goals. Whether it's returning to work, engaging in leisure activities, or resuming parental or carer roles, BIRCH provides essential support and specialised programs, including returning to driving and cycling programs. As awareness of concussion and mild traumatic brain injury grows, so too does the demand for services to support these experiencing prolonged symptoms. Up to 48% of individuals with a mild traumatic brain injury experience symptoms that can last weeks, months, or even years. These symptoms can be debilitating, affecting employment, lifestyle, and relationships. The Mild Traumatic Brain Injury Clinic receives an average of 885 referrals annually, reflecting the increasing need for specialised care and support. We must acknowledge that brain injuries, often referred to as hidden injuries, require a community-wide response. It's essential that we continue to invest in awareness, support services and rehabilitation programs to ensure that those affected receive the care that they need. And that's why this week of raising that awareness in the community about these hidden injuries is so important. To Brain Injury SA and all the healthcare professionals who work tirelessly to support individuals with brain injuries, thank you for your important work. Your dedication and compassion make a tremendous difference in the lives of so many. And together we can continue to raise awareness, advocate for better support, and strive to build a community that understands and supports those living with brain injury. And in addition, I think the other key thing to think about in this week and always is how we can work better to prevent brain injury as well. And our new agency that we've established, Preventive Health SA, has the ability to now focus more strongly on what we can do at the prevention end as well for a range of different conditions, including, of course, injuries that could lead to brain injuries. So thank you very much for being here today. Thank you for the work that you do in the community to raise awareness or provide support for people with brain injuries. And I hope that through the course of this week and the activities that we see a greater level of understanding and awareness of these very debilitating conditions in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister, again for your time and attendance today. I'd now like to invite Sobhan Ahad up to the stage, the Director and Service Coordinator from Scarlet Home Care, to say a few words as one of today's key sponsors.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not a fluent speaker. I mumble sometimes, so excuse me. Thank you. Good morning. I begin to acknowledging the Ghana peoples who together today, and I paying my respects to the elder past and present. In a short sense, what is Scarlet Home Care? We are a registered NDIS and a DVA service provider. We strongly support the community with sustained brain injury SA as our focus purely on high complex services such as cares, nursing and housing needs. From Scarlet Home Care, we want to thank Brain Injury SA for putting together such an amazing event. Brain injury continues to be a major cause of comorbidities amongst many South Australians. And events such as these increase the awareness and provide a platform of all stakeholders to meet together and discuss the key challenges facing people with brain injury and find solutions for them. And thank you, Minister, providing those very important information that what we're doing at South Australia now. Again, we would, from Scarlet Home Care, we would like to thank Brain Injury SA for allowing us to be a major part or major sponsor for the Brain Injury Awareness Weeks. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Well, as the Minister said, yes, I did forget to introduce myself. My name is Isabel Damon. I'm a journalist at the ABC, tough but fair, he's right, and also a news presenter. And I'm delighted to be your MC for today for the launch of Brain Injury Awareness Week 2024. I'd like to welcome everyone here, including attendees with lived experience of a brain injury, as well as families, supporters and business groups, along with anyone else attending who wants to learn and share in raising awareness of the lives of people with brain injury. I'd also like to thank those joining us via the live stream from SA, Australia and also from overseas. On behalf of Brain Injury SA, I'd like to take this moment to thank our sponsors, the Lifetime Support Authority, Scarlet Home Care, Anderson's Solicitors, Medimart and Beneficent. Thank you for your generous and valued support for the launch of this year's Awareness Week and for your attendance today. Our theme this year is Hope, Strength, Empowerment. Today is a day for people with lived experience of brain injury to come together and own and share their own stories, to raise awareness in our community, not just of the challenges and the hardships, but of the incredible and meaningful successes, the moments of hope, strength, and empowerment. We hope each of you today can reflect on that theme and consider how those values have been present in your journey, or how you would like to try to embody those values going forward. As we get into today's speakers, we'd love to provide the opportunity for anyone who'd like to ask a question to do so in one of two ways. We'll have a roving microphone if you'd like to ask your question live. Alternatively, you can submit your question through your mobile phone by scanning the QR codes on the slides behind me. We'll do our best to get to everyone's questions. However, depending on how much time we have, we'll look to take them after and try to get an answer back to you after today's event. Finally, before we welcome our first speaker, I'd like to advise you all that a breakout room has been set up next door to our event space today. Please use this area if you wish, if today's content raises any concerns for you at all, or if you just feel like you want a quiet place to go for a little while. Now it is my absolute pleasure to invite our key speaker to the stage, Myra Fordham. Myra Fordham is a proud Malgnin, Gurindji and Wokka woman, an award-winning leadership expert, best-selling author, mentor and coach. She is also a brain injury survivor. Myra acquired her brain injury after an assault from her ex-boyfriend. She spent 11 days in a coma before undergoing brain surgery and intense rehabilitation to learn to walk and speak again and to overcome depression, anxiety and PTSD. Myra's experiences shaped her determination to find a way to help others move through their own trauma, leading her to start her consulting business, Myra Fordham Coaching. It focuses on helping people to master their mindsets and to find clarity, confidence, and purpose. In 2023, Myra was named Darwin's NAIDOC Person of the Year and has been nominated for countless other awards for her excellent work in this space. Please, everyone, give Myra a very, very warm welcome to the stage.
Hello everybody. Such an honour to be here today, and I was a bit nervous, but now I'm not nervous. And I guess the little girl in me, the little black girl, never thought that this would be possible. She never thought that she would be on stage speaking, sharing her story, and I can't believe it, but then again I can believe it. And so who here is excited to be here and really grateful for this event? Put your hands up. Amazing, I love it, I love it. And so today what I'm going to be sharing with you guys, I have not shared with anyone. So I want you to put your active listening skills on, and I want you to really dive deep. And I know that this may trigger some parts of you. It might give you some realizations. Maybe you might feel a bit emotional or a little bit sad or something, or happy. But I just want to let you know that I've never shared this before. So here goes. We're not going to get you up and dancing. I was going to, but yeah, we had a few issues with the music, but that's okay. So I'm just going to dive into my story and kind of paint a picture for you. So I started off in the maritime industry. I did my Certificate 3 in maritime operations in Tasmania at the Australian Maritime College, and I had a promising career. I actually have sailed around Australia, been to Tasmania, been here in Adelaide, I've been to Melbourne, and I've actually sailed to Singapore as well. So I've done a lot of things, and I used to think that I was going to climb the ranks and become a master. And the thing was that I was set in stone. That was my career. That's where I wanted to be in the future. And so that's how I found my voice, through my passion and my purpose, because I always wanted to share my story and help other people to overcome their obstacles and their challenges. And so I used to go and rally for the Maritime Union Australia. Used to be loud and proud, the loudest voice there. Even though I'm 5'2", I make a big impact. And so I had that career path, and I was just ready to take on the world. And I then met this man on Tinder. And so I want you all here, if you're single and looking for love, it's not always the best place. However, yeah, it was too good to be true. After I actually had a breakup that was a bit, traumatic for me. And then I found this guy, and he was awesome. He was the jack of all trades. And then I started to see the red flags that were raising. So the red flags of name calling, insecurities. But the thing was, I want to take full ownership here. I wasn't an angel either. So it was just, mirrors attracting mirrors. And for me, being an Aboriginal woman as well, sometimes, in different families, we grow up and we're faced with some challenges, for example, family violence, domestic violence. So in my mind was this belief that that's okay. So I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And you only know what you know. So I thought this was okay, and I thought this was true love, but it turns out it wasn't. And so things got worse. And then one day, guys, I woke up in hospital, and I didn't know why I was there. I was scared, and I didn't know what happened. And I didn't know how to walk. I didn't know how to talk, which was very scary. And what the doctors told me was I ripped out the drips, and it's very graphical. Please forgive me. I ripped out the catheter too, and I tried to run. Tried to get out of my bed because I didn't know where I was. And then the doctors and the nurses came over and tried to comfort me. And they said, Myra, do you know what happened? And then I kind of had an idea. I'm like, in my head, yes, I know what happened. And the thing was that I didn't know that I had brain surgery. I didn't know that I was in an induced coma. But I kind of do remember bits and pieces of how I got there. So what I was told by my family was I was washing the dishes in the kitchen, and my ex-boyfriend came up behind me and struck me in the head. And then my head hit the bench. Then I fell backwards. And what happened was I had a 2mm midshift in my brain. So it moved when I impacted the ground. So, and apparently I was going in and out of consciousness. And my family thought, they didn't know if I was going to make it. Even the police said it was very touch and go. And previous to that, I also lost my dad to colon cancer. So 2016 was a very rough year for myself. So I just had tragedy after tragedy. So moving back to the hospital, I had to start learning how to walk again. So I have memories of me using the balancing beam, when they use certain things like that for physiotherapy or like ballet or gymnastics. So I had to use the balancing beam to learn how to walk. And I was actually pushed in a wheelchair around when I wanted to go to the cafe or I wanted to go downstairs to get sunlight. So I felt like a baby. I felt like I lost all my independence that I had built up. And it was hard, trust me. Like what you see here today is years and years of work, like inner work. And so for me, all I wanted to do was go back to work, go back to the gym. That's all I cared about at that stage. I was like, no, I want to be medically clear to go and do the things that I loved doing. And so it was a big, big journey. And I did have days where I just wanted to check out of life. I was just like, you know what, like I'm done. I feel worthless. I feel like I just can't keep going. But then again, the one thing that stopped me from doing that was a little voice popped into my head and said, no, Myra, you need to keep going. That's selfish. Think about all your family and the people who love you that you're going to leave behind. So I just said, okay. And don't get me wrong, I would have days that were better than others. And so I just had to keep going, even though it was so tough. And so the types of rehab that I had to attend was I had to go to speech therapy, I had to go to counselling just to talk about my emotions and my feelings and therapy. I also had to do physiotherapy so I could get my balance back because I lost my balance. I also did occupational therapy as well. So I actually lost my license then, and I had a full open manual license. So I had to get my license back and take those steps, and it was just really tough, but I'm so great because pain is my biggest motivator. And so the more pain, the more tragedy that happens in our lives, those are the main motivators of certain people. But today, you actually have a chance now to make changes now and not wait. Because do you know Joe Dispenza? Some of you might know him. He says people wait for a tragedy before you start moving and motivate yourself. But you don't have to anymore because you're taking on board what I'm saying. And so for me, that was my permission slip to success. That alone, that incident, changed the trajectory of my life for the better. And it helped me to find a new meaning in life and not be a little sad pity party celebrant. I did not have to keep playing over that broken record of being a victim and blaming the world and saying, why me? And it was so tough. I cried many, many days and nights just because of the way my life was. And I'm going to share this with you, and some people may or may not know this. And so who here is wondering if our loved ones in a coma can hear us? It's a big one, hey, it's a big question. So I'm going to tell you the truth today from my own experience. So the thing is that when you're in a coma, you can hear your family, because I remember hearing everyone, but it was like I was in a dream, but I was still conscious. So be mindful of what you say around your loved ones. Make sure it's positive and loving words. It's very, very important. And I thought, when I was in the coma, I thought I was still going to work, because I had a job when after the maritime, I was working at Liquorland, serving alcohol. So I thought I was just in my life, living my life. So that's a nice big one, an unanswered question that is answered. And so after that, and going through rehab and doing a bit of soul searching, I then met this man, but I was still hesitant. I was like, I'm not sure. Do I trust men again? Do I want a relationship again? And I was just resisting. I was like, I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want this. And so 8 months later, there was this guy. He was so kind. He was persistent. And that man is sitting over there in the checkered red shirt, Sam. And give a round of applause for him. And he has helped my recovery and just been my rock through everything. And we ended up getting married. And we only known each other for 8 months. So I'm really happy to say that it is possible after some traumatic experiences to find love again. And so then after that, I returned to work. So when I was at Liquorland, they were giving me 3 hours because I was medically clear from the doctor to go back to work and to go to the gym. So that's when the jigsaw puzzle pieces starting to connect. And then Sam would always encourage me to do different things. And so I decided that I wanted to challenge myself because I was like, well, I feel as though that my recovery is getting better each day. And so I decided that I needed to go and, I guess, learn more things, because my belief is learning is earning. It really is. I felt like my brain was growing. And so I then saw a traineeship. So then I said, yep, I'll do a traineeship. So I did a traineeship, and the duration of that, it was certificate 3 in business. And so I was like, I wanted something bad. I wanted to challenge myself. And so I saw it, and the duration, everyone, was 18 months. But guess what? I smashed it in 9 months. So I just proved to myself that I'm capable and I'm enough and I'm worthy of building back my life. And then I started my business. So then I just kept getting more hungry, more driven, more determination. And it was amazing. I started my business, and what I really wanted was, because I started seeing the positives in life, was that I really wanted to help others use my struggles and my challenges, so then other people could then overcome their own challenges. And for me, all I care about is impacting the lives of others. That's what drives me, because I know I've been in the dumps, I've been in the dark, I've been depressed. I've had PTSD, but it's all gone now. So that's what motivates me, to see other people smile, to see other people building their capabilities. It's very important. And everything you need is inside of you already, but it's up to you to unlock that and find your true potential and your purpose. So I'm going to share with you some of the symptoms that I experienced due to the TBI. So I experienced memory loss. So I'll give you an example. My friends, they used to say to me, hey Myra, do you remember that time when we did this? And I would look at them blank, and I was like, no, what are you talking about? And so I had to say, do you remember I have a brain injury. Like, I don't remember those things. Like, I remember things before, but not these very small little things. So I experienced memory loss. I had mood swings and irritability. So, for example, people would make loud noises or play music or talk loud when I'm trying to sleep. So I would just be angry and rage, and just, it was like I was like a baby kind of learning things again. And yeah, like to the point where I'd snap and I'd just change, like I'd flip. It's crazy. But I'm so glad now that I can control that. And then I had photophobia, which means that you're sensitive to lighting. So, for example, this light doesn't affect me now, but back then, certain lights and the sunlight would affect me and how I felt. It would make me feel like angry or irritated or get tension in my head. So when I was in hospital, what they did to cater to me was they put me in a separate room to others, because before I had to share and it was hell. And then they put garbage bags on the windows so then it would block out the sun. So that was really awesome. And then I had heightened anxiety. So before, I had so much anxiety and things would just worry me, and I'd feel sick in the stomach, I'd feel nauseous, my chest would get really tight. And so I used to get anxiety. The first time I had the social anxiety was when I came out of hospital, and then I went to try and go buy some groceries with my family, and I was just a mess. My heart was beating, I was sweating. It was not good. And the thing that was bringing on that anxiety was that I thought everyone was judging me when they wasn't. Because when I was in hospital in the coma, I was, I think, 60 kilos and I was into bodybuilding and stuff. And then once I woke up, I was only 47 kilos. So I really just was feeling no good about myself. And so that's how I experienced the anxiety. And then once I would get fatigued, I would get headaches and tension in my head. And that was my cue to go and lay down and have a nap or rest. So it was very important that I found a quiet space so then I could have a sleep. A couple of things that helped me with sleep was having earplugs and an eye mask. And sometimes I would put a pillow on top of my head so that it would block out all the noise. So that was one way that I got through that. And then the thing was that when I was in hospital, I would eat some nice foods that I like. For example, you know, the red jelly they give you or something like that, or banana or something that's a bit sweet. I noticed that my taste wasn't normal, or I actually thought, I was like, this does not taste good, this is gross. But it was because of the damage on my brain. So it was interesting. But now I'm a big foodie and I love to have different types of foods, and I really pay attention and be so mindful of what I'm eating. So for example, if I'm having some cheese or fruit, I'll take into mind what notes I can taste. Same like coffee, you know, you drink coffee, there's different notes. There could be chocolate, there could be fruits, could be citrus. Same like wine, you know. So it just helped me to be more grateful for the food and the taste that I have now. And so I said that I had PTSD. I was actually medically diagnosed with PTSD. But the amazing thing about this, everybody, is that I didn't take medication. I healed myself holistically by doing the inner work, journaling daily, listening to meditations, meditating, did some really great courses, read some books, and all of that helped me to heal truly who I am. And that's what gave me that more passion and that purpose to help others heal. So I've researched different modalities, and I strongly encourage you to do the same. And so now I don't get triggered by certain things that used to trigger me. And so I used to have the loss of balance, which I've already run through. So it was just, now that I look back, I'm actually so glad that this occurred in my life. Like, this is my gift. I'm so happy and grateful from the bottom of my heart that this occurred. Because if this didn't happen, I wouldn't be here speaking in front of all of you beautiful souls here today. So these are the challenges that I experienced. So it was very hard for me to articulate my thoughts. I knew what I wanted to say, but something random would come out of my mouth and I couldn't communicate how I was feeling. And that's actually an art in itself. See how my voice has more emotion in it now? And my speech is clear? That's taken years and years, and being mindful. So with my voice, I used to talk like this. Hello, my name is Myra. So that's how I used to talk, and I used to be really, I guess, self-conscious of it, and it used to get me down, and I just didn't know how to fix it. But it's like going to the gym. You know, if you only go once, you're not going to get fit or healthy. You have to go repetitively and be consistent. And then you'll get fit, right? So it's the same thing. And then I had the heightened emotions, which I was talking about earlier with the mood swings. So I had mood swings, which was an emotional roller coaster, basically, it was. And I was medically unfit for work, which I have shared, but I'm so grateful now that I've started my own business. And the one thing that triggered me back then was, even though I was medically unfit to work, I was unable to get the disability pension. Interesting, hey? So I just had to still apply for jobs and stuff. So it was weird because I was medically unable to, work. So, and now on that disability kind of subject, that's one thing that I've never resonated with. What you see here, I'm not disabled, right? And that's what I say to a lot of people, like, we're not disabled, we're capable, but we just have our own way of doing things. So that's one thing. We're not disabled, right? We can still talk, some of us can do certain things. So I want you to just get rid of that disabled word. We're not disabled, we're actually able. And if we go to rehab and do all the good inner work stuff, then we'll be able to do these things. So this day was the most insane day I've ever experienced. So what you can see here is me holding up the NAIDOC award. This was just an incredible milestone. And what inspired me about this award was I was doing it for my people, my mob, but I'm also doing it for each and one of you here today to show you that if I can do it, so can you. If I can get this award, then so can you. And it's all about impacting and giving back to your community. I still can't believe it. Sam and I was at the table and all these other awards kept getting drawn, and I was in a few categories, and we're like, oh damn, I'm not going to win this award. Like, oh gosh, this is boring. Sam was like so bored. He always is bored at events. But anyway, he's just my cheerleader. And and then they had this award, and they're like, and so they didn't have the nominees there, so we were still like guessing, like, what's going on? And then they said, Myra Fordham! And I just screamed the whole convention centre down. There was like 800 plus people, and I couldn't believe it. I was shaking, I was excited, and yeah, it was just the most victorious moment I've ever had in my life. And I'm just so grateful that I've had the honour of winning that award and representing each and every one of you in this room. And recently, I took home the UK Health Award Radio Reward. I'm trying to think of the name, there's so many names. For awareness and realisation. So one of my friends from the UK nominated me. And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm not going to win this award because there's so many other people all over in the world. And then I get the email and they say, you won the award, congratulations. So this was the award that I won this year. Amen. Thank you. And so the thing is that you just got to change, you know, I can't, and then chop off the T to I can. So it was just crazy. I was just like, another award. Like, where are these awards coming from? So in the middle photo, you can see that was when I did an address speech for Australia Day last year at Nhulunbuy, and I hand out the Citizenship Award. So it was really awesome just to keep being recognised for the work that I'm doing nationwide and internationally. And so that, you see, is my first award that I won, which was in 2022. It was the International Women's Day Award. It was for mentoring and coaching women and girls. So that was just crazy as well. I couldn't believe it as well that I won that award, but I was really grateful. And I was like, finally, I'm getting recognised for my work. So it was just an extraordinary event, and I'm just so grateful for even this opportunity here today. So this is a quote that I created myself. Growth is painful, change is painful, but what is more painful is being somewhere where you don't belong. So we often have this perception and we put up all these walls and barriers, but we just need to get out of our own damn way, you know? Like, can you imagine how good life would be if we just get out of our own way and stop making excuses and actually have a go? Be that person in that room that puts their hand up and asks a question. Be that person who goes first. Dare to dream. And my message to you today is that when it becomes our time, will you truly be satisfied with the life you've lived? Not many of us will be. So today, once you get out of this room, I really want you to start doing your best. Give your personal best every single day. Life is what you make it. And so my final message to you all is that if I can do it, so can you. If I had to learn how to walk and talk again, don't you think that you could overcome these barriers and challenges that you've put up for yourself? And I almost believed the doctors. Like, they give you the worst case scenarios. They tell you these things, and I did believe it. I used to say all the time when I was studying or when I worked that I have. See how I'm taking ownership of that word and saying that it belongs to me? I said, I have cognitive impairments. Yeah, sure, I might have some ADHD kind of traits. Yeah, sure, I might have a bit of dyslexic traits, but I'm still doing it. I'm still having a go. And I'm using them as my superpowers. We see things that other people can't. So it's all about finding your true passion and your purpose. What lights you up? What lights your soul on fire? You need to find that and use it. So right now, I'm going to give you my final gift. A gift for you to let go here today and move forward with your journey. Can we have some music, please? Thank you. So I'm going to guide you here today, and I want you to fully trust yourself. But more important, trust me, because I'm going to guide you today. Get nice and comfortable in your chair. I want you to surrender to this process and go all in, okay? I know this might be new to you, but I can assure you, you're going to walk out of this room feeling free, empowered. So I want you now to all close down your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. Just follow my voice. I'm going to guide you. Who here has felt like they're not good enough or not worthy? Who here has felt that they're not capable? So what I'm going to do today with you guys is we're going to use a castle to illustrate the world within us. So I'm going to guide you through this castle. So have you ever felt like you're not worthy, not good enough, maybe not capable, or that you just can't do it? And I want you to visualize and imagine a castle that is grand and it's beautiful, it's impressive. And now, but in this castle, everything is perfect except these rooms. And there's this dark room. It's just dark, it's neglected. Now this is the part of you that you might have felt shame, rejected, or judged about. Now this is the part of you, and I want you to give this room a name. Maybe it's shame, rejection, judgment, not good enough. And on the count of 3, what we're going to do is we're going to throw a glow stick into this room. And we're going to light up this room, being lit up to be seen for what it really is. 1, 2, 3. Throwing the glow stick in the room, and now it's lit up. Now you can see the beautiful room for what it really is, and all of its attributes and the parts that you left in the dark for so long. And now we're going to walk out of this room together. I'm going to go down the corridor and leave the room open. And we're walking down, and I want you to nod your head if you see another room so we can shed some love on this room. But before that, I want you to give yourself 3 lessons in order to let go and feel like you are enough. So what is the first lesson? What do you need to know? Say it to yourself in your mind. What is the second lesson that you need to know or you need to do in order to let go of this part of you? Good. Now, what is the third lesson in order for you to let go of this for good and forgive yourself? Awesome. Keep your eyes closed, and now we're going to walk down to the second room. So this is the second room that represents that part of you that you felt shame, judgment, or rejected. What is this part of you? What is that name? Maybe it's not feeling good. not worthy, judged. Nice. Now on the count of 3, what we're going to do together is we're going to throw that glow stick in this room so we can light it up and allow it to be seen for the beautiful room that it really is. 1, 2, 3. Throwing the glow stick in the room so it lights up every corner of the room. Leaving it lit up to be seen. Keep your hands on your heart. Feel that love and appreciation for yourself. Now, what are the 3 lessons in order for you to allow yourself to move on, feel loved and grateful? What do you need to know in order to let this go? Say this to yourself now. Good. What is the second lesson? What do you need to know deep down inside of you in order to feel that love for yourself, that appreciation, and empower yourself here today? Good. Now, what is the third lesson? I want you to take an empowering meaning from this. What do you need to know? What do you need to do? Say this to yourself in your mind. Feel that emotion. Allow yourself to feel whatever's coming up for you right now. Good. You're doing an amazing job. Keep your eyes closed. Now we're going to leave that room lit up to be seen for what it really is. Now we're going to walk down the corridor together. We're going to walk down some marble stairs together into a sitting room. You can see the dining table and the chairs, the silverware, everything in that grand castle, the glass windows. And then we come up and we see that mirror on the wall. Now I want you to walk up with me and stare at yourself in the mirror. What do you see? I want you to see you for what you really are. I want you to look into your eyes deeply. See your beautiful facial features. And I want you to say this prayer with me in your mind together. In order for you to let go today. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And again, keep your hand on your heart, eyes closed. I love you. Say it with emotion. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. One more time. You're doing a good job. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Keep your eyes closed. And now I want you to then smile. Put a smile on your face. Feel that love for yourself. Because that's all you've needed this whole time, is that love, that compassion for yourself. And now when you're ready, you can leave the castle and look back on the castle. And I want you to wiggle your fingertips and your toes. Come back into your body, into the room. And open your eyes when you're ready. Well done. You've now cleared lifelong emotions or something inside of you, and you've been able to let go. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone here. for going all in with me today, and I hope that you all got something beautiful out of this. And if you see me in the street, please don't be a stranger. And if you need anything from me, you can reach me at myrafordham.com. So now, if we have time for questions and answers, then it's open. Thank you so much.
A big clap for Myra. Myra, thank you. Thank you for sharing with us today so honestly and for that really beautiful exercise. I really enjoyed that personally. We would love to take some of your questions. We probably have time for just a couple. Remember, you can use the QR code if you don't want to use the microphone that we have coming around. We do have one that's been submitted so far from Kylie. Kylie asks, Myra, what helped you to stay positive when your rehabilitation progress was perhaps slower at times than you might have liked?
That's a really good question. What helped me to become or stay positive? So the one thing that helped me to remain positive was that if I've seen some cases with the brain injury, like people who've experienced brain injury, but what kept me positive was that I knew that my father was looking down on me and guiding me, you know, and he would want me to live a fulfilling life. He wanted me to keep going. Like, I just knew when I was a child that I had a big future, but I just didn't have those tools yet in order to make that a thing. And what keeps me positive is like giving back and helping others. That's what kept me positive, and having a good support network around you really helps to keep you positive, especially that feminine side of things, like women have a really nice, tender, caring spot. That really helped to keep me positive and, you know, reaching for the stars.
Yeah, just down the front.
Thank you so much for being so honest. As a survivor myself, that just means the world to me. I live with two people who've got brain injuries, and I had a friend who died as a result of, she had a brain injury, but she turned to alcohol. What would you recommend for family members when they see their loved ones slipping through the cracks because they're not severe enough for services to be able to reach out and help? So, for example, my son, he was 17, first week on his plumbing apprenticeship job, hit a stovey pole at 80 k's head on with no airbags. He actually was lucky in that he walked out, but he does have a brain injury, but it wasn't severe enough to, in their point scale, to get support that was needed. So family members are really important with that. What are some of your recommendations just to help, you know, those that slip through the cracks? And I'm sure there are many, especially with domestic violence and sporting injuries.
Yep. So I guess what helped me is I've not really enjoyed reading books ever, only picture books as a child, and because I have some kind of dyslexic stuff traits. So I turned to podcasts and audios, videos. That really helped. Also finding a support network of other survivors where storytelling's really important and crucial, and that's something that us Aboriginal people have really held close to us, because when we story tell, we actually create that connection, and then people actually put themselves into our shoes and they understand us. So I would say with the support network really helps. finding if there's any like funding or grants that he could maybe tap into. That's something that really helped myself too. But even having that willingness and that passion to know that, okay, well, I really want to help other people, but the reason why I help people also is because it's helping myself too, you know, like even though like I am, you know, a professional and I have different clients, they come to me for a specific purpose and a reason. It's because something in their life has been unsolved. When I help them, it actually helps me, and I'm like, aha, and I'm learning too. So for me, it's just really just finding that network that you trust, you feel safe, you feel seen, you feel heard and understood. And please feel free to reach out to me after this if you want to. And yeah, that's something that I really love to help. And I have a supportive community online too. There was one more thing that I really needed to share, but it just slipped away. So yeah, I'll have to get that train of thought again and share it with you.
Myra, thank you so much for being with us here today, for your powerful words, for your honesty, and for really just embodying our theme of hope, strength and empowerment. You were the perfect person to talk to that today. Everyone, a big clap for Myra again. Thank you.
Okay. Can I ask you a small favour?
Yes.
I'm going to get you to get my camera and we're going to take a photo with everyone with their hands up. What do you think? Okay, but
This is your phone, isn't it?
Yep.
I haven't got someone's phone.
Thank you. So
Otherwise, you're going to end up with a nice group photo if it's
yeah,
not
we'll
your
do
phone.
a couple sections just so then we can get everyone in. So I might just do this.
Should I take a quick selfie as a joke? No, I won't.
Everyone, put your hands up. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much,
Sending you
Myra.
much love.
I'd now like to invite our second guest speaker for the day up to the stage, Rowena Holmes. Rowena is a clinical psychologist who has worked in a range of mental health, disability and rehabilitation settings across Australia and the UK. Rowena has previously specialised in chronic pain, functional neurological disorders, and has a keen interest in the role of trauma and mental health in acquired brain injury and neurorehabilitation. Rowena joined Brain Injury SA at the beginning of this year and currently works with a range of different people with varying experiences of brain injury across several sites. Rowena, welcome.
Hello, thank you very much. And thank you again, Myra, for sharing your story. It is an honour and a privilege to be speaking alongside you. And anyone who's done any sort of public speaking knows there's nothing better than following right after an outrageously inspirational person. You are a wonderfully tough act to follow, and I do really appreciate the opportunity, so thank you. I'm going to be talking today about the clinician's role in hope, strength and empowerment after brain injury. I'm going to be telling a story about us. It's a story about people with a brain injury and about the people and the clinicians who support those individuals. The medical model. So up until the 70s, people with an acquired brain injury were still being told that any damage to their brain was fixed. And life after a brain injury meant identifying the care that they would need for the rest of their lives. It wasn't until 1980 that the World Health Organization began to seriously study the social and functional impacts of health and injury rather than just the impairments alone. And believe it or not, it wasn't until 2001 that the World Health Organization really focused on learning from those with a lived experience and about their health conditions and disability. And that it began to be viewed as a part of, rather than apart from, the broader human experience. And because of this past orientation, the medical model has historically tended to view disability as a health condition to be dealt with by medical professionals. It tends to identify what is different to what is normal. It tends to view disability as a problem within an individual. And it tends to focus on deficits that need fixing and what people cannot do. Now, this is in no way to dismiss the essential role of medical science, the hard-working medical professionals, nor undermine what the advancements in the field have done for us. The medical understanding is critical, but we must also look beyond the medical model. And that's exactly what we've been doing as we shift towards identifying factors that promote health and well-being of all people, including those with an acquired brain injury. It started in '97 with Charles Rapp, who wrote the Strengths Model, which started to focus on amplifying the well parts of us. And in 1999, Dr. Martin Seligman, who is a pioneer of the positive psychology movement and was the president of the American Psychological Association at the time, made an observation that highlighted the urgent need for us to focus on strengths-based practice. He said, "The most important thing we've learned was that psychology was half-baked. We've baked the part about illness, about repair damage. The other side is unbaked, the side of strength, the side of what we're good at." So in its essence, what is strength-based approaches? One example is from the recovery model, which outlines 6 core principles. 1, that people have the capacity to recover, reclaim, and transform their lives. The focus is on individual strengths rather than deficits. The community is viewed as an oasis of resources, and the client or the person is the director of the helping process. The relationship between clinicians and people is primary and essential, and the preferred setting is within somebody's own community. Now, these approaches won't be new to the many experienced clinicians and people in the field listening here today. But it is important that we understand our past as we navigate our future together, and to discuss the why our overall orientations matter so much. Let's take the role of hope. So across the rehabilitation field, there's been a rapidly increasing interest in the concept of hope. I can recall countless stories from people who were told definitively in the early stages of their recovery about what they'd never be able to do again. They've shared specific moments and words that have stayed with them and that set their expectations and their motivations for their future. Many of those people then went on to describe how they are now doing exactly what they thought they never could. Myra's story is a beautiful example of that. And many of you today may have your own experience of this. For clinicians, hope can be a paradox with both positive and negative qualities. Many people who support and care for people with a brain injury may be afraid to give false hope and ultimately want to help, perhaps by managing expectations. We must remember how powerful our words can be. Words that are absolute, like never, like always, like rest of your life, and how such words might impact people's ideas about what is possible, and how ideas about what is possible can impact motivation to continue the hard work that is necessary in life after injury. And we must consider how such words may be heard at a time where people are grieving or maybe feeling desperately uncertain and trying to gather some sense of a meaningful way forward. So how can clinicians approach this? A large international systematic review published this year summarised 20 years of research into how people with an acquired brain injury and their families and carers view hope within their rehabilitation journey. And it gives us some excellent guidance. So some key findings is they found that all research participants noted the importance of hope. People did experience hope as twofold, so being positive and negative, but that clinicians' concerns about false hope were associated with a less hopeful stance that made them feel less motivated. The results stressed the importance of individual assessments to find out how hope can best be supported in light of somebody's personality, their social network, and where they might be at in their own rehabilitation and recovery. And they found that hope was most helpful for short and medium-term goals so that progress is visible and that evidence that change is possible can be used to reinforce and encourage. And one of the most important findings was around clinicians' ability to hold hope. So we must move beyond the medical hope, which tends to perhaps focus on the possibility of curing, of fixing, or achieving normality, and instead having a hopeful stance and being able to identify possible pathways to meaningful futures for people. It requires us to sit with a little bit of uncertainty. It means understanding someone's wishes, hopes, and dreams for the future, and also understanding that the current situation makes it hard or can complicate the achievement of these. But our job is to hold both of these ideas together. And we as clinicians perhaps also need to be brave and accept a little risk, not by making promises, but by maintaining hope and belief in an individual's strengths, in their capacity, and in their potential, even at times when they themselves may not be able to. As we discussed earlier, in the past, people with an acquired brain injury were told that damage to their brains was fixed. Scientists believe that once we hit adulthood, our brains were wired for life. Fortunately, we now know about neuroplasticity, which is the ability of our neural networks in the brain to change through growth and reorganisation in response to learning, to experience, or following an injury. All human brains are constantly changing and evolving. It is strongest in infants and children while our brains are developing, but we now know that it is lifelong and certainly continues after an injury. You've probably heard the phrase, neurons that fire together, wire together. Neural pathways change and strengthen in response to what we do repeatedly, which is, of course, impacted by what we're motivated for and by what we believe is possible. So neuroplasticity is the hard science evidence that hope is not only possible, but necessary. Norman Doidge wrote an excellent book on it called The Brain That Changes Itself, which stressed many important ideas, including that we can shape our brains to overcome fears and limiting beliefs. The brain is capable of incredible resilience and recovery, even after injury and trauma. And what about beyond the trauma? What about beyond recovery? What if those of us who live through incredible challenge can develop something special? Something that others who have not experienced such hardship may not. Tedeschi and Calhoun defined post-traumatic growth as the positive psychological changes experienced as a result of trauma, struggle with trauma, or highly challenging situations. Challenge is how we as humans become stronger. And the constant process of change and learning is, in part, what we humans are designed for. Now, this does not mean that we disregard the painful experiences of trauma, but it means we are open to the growth experiences occurring alongside it. What helps to foster this growth? The right therapeutic relationships, learning about trauma, our brains and our bodies so that we understand and can make sense of our experiences, and connecting with communities where shared experiences are validated and understood. Tedeschi's research uncovered 5 main areas where post-traumatic growth may be identified. 1 is developing a greater appreciation of life in a way that you may not have before. 2, improved relationships, perhaps by an increased sense of compassion, shared experiences, and knowing those that you can count on. Finding new possibilities or new purposes. Knowing you have strength and the ability to get through hard things. Spiritual change, or a stronger sense of meaning or faith. So, what does all of this look like in clinical practice? No matter what our discipline or role, it is important to identify strengths at every step of the therapeutic process. So we need to remember that we are meeting people, not diagnoses. We need to get to know, what are people interested in? What are they passionate about? How do they see themselves? What do they stand for? And if people are not able to do things in the same way as before, can we help them come up with new ways so that people can live in line with what is of most value to them? And what about other challenges they've faced? How did they get through those? We need to remember to hold visible, meaningful goals and to hold balance, and to communicate hope. We also must let every individual be the storyteller of their own story. We need to tune into people's true goals and motivations and be aware that we're not setting goals based on what we think people should want to do. We need to be aware of our own values, that sense of what I would do or what we consider to be normal. We need to meet people where they're at and help them to become who they are. Humans are built to be connected to other humans, and our communities are a rich source of strength. Who are the important people and why are they important? Without making assumptions, we need to be curious and learn from individuals. What are people's important roles? Who gives their life purpose and meaning? Is it being a parent, being a friend, a brother, a daughter, a partner, the owner of their pets? How can we build strength in the support network by involving and supporting families, carers, and the important people? We need to understand someone's cultural and spiritual background, and we need to learn from people what's important to them, but we also need to educate ourselves without expecting people to be solely responsible for teaching us. What is available in the local environment, and who are the communities that somebody identifies with? And continuing throughout the therapeutic process, we must be tuning into an individual's pace, not setting a pace we think people should be moving at. We need to always be identifying new strengths along the way And supporting people to build skills so that they are active in their recovery, can do more for themselves, increase independence, confidence, rather than increasing what is done for someone. We need to accept that people are doing the best they can right now, and that change is possible. Humans need to be validated. Validation means listening, acknowledging and accepting how someone feels in the moment and within their situation. It doesn't mean agreeing or disagreeing with it. It doesn't mean we need to jump in and fix it immediately. It means letting people know that their experiences are not wrong. It means letting people know they're not alone in how they feel. It means saying, I hear you and I see where you're at right now. Our education should empower people with knowledge and help people understand in ways that make sense to them, using their own language. We should be asking for feedback. How are we doing? Is this helpful? And it's not just about helping people in the moment, but it's about reminding people that their opinion on their life is what is most important. We must always be doing with, not for and not to, because we as clinicians are facilitators, we're not fixers. We may know how to help, but people know the most about themselves. And so here are just some examples that have been set up by my wonderful colleagues at BISA together with our brain injury community. We use an interdisciplinary therapy model to ensure that each participant is directing their own goals and that therapists remain on the same page and working as part of a team with people. To utilise and enhance strengths and build connections with others, we run a range of group programs and sessions focused on shared interests, learning new skills, social catch-ups, and the 10-week RTP program, which is partnered with Lifetime Support Authority, which has a mix of people at different stages of their recovery, sharing and supporting each other. For opportunities for validation, hope and empowerment, we have a wonderful and inspirational group of mentors who have their own lived experience of acquired brain injury and who join our group programs and also provide one-to-one sessions. For opportunities for new roles, learning new skills, as well as a social space, the Participant Cafe project is also being set up at the Northern Hub, so watch this space. And if anyone would like to know any more about these programs, please do catch myself or one of the BISA team that's here today. And I will just finish by a special quote by the remarkable Maya Angelou, who has a pretty inspiring story for those of you who know it. I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Rowena, and wasn't that so complimentary to everything that Myra spoke about in terms of a person being their own storyteller? Thank you so much for your insights today. Now it's time for our final guest for this year's launch event. I'd like to invite Tammy up to the stage. Tammy acquired a brain injury 8 years ago. Today she's going to speak with us about her journey since that day and how she's found her strength through the love of her children to accept what happened, to grow in confidence and to live with gratitude. Everybody, please give Tammy a huge round of applause. You hang on to that one. I think it should be on. Why don't you give it a test? Say, hi, I'm Tammy.
Hello, I'm Tammy.
There you go. That's working beautifully. Maybe we could both just shout out to everyone. I've got a loud voice too. Tammy, we understand that you suffered a traumatic brain injury when you had a seizure and fell about 8 years ago. You spent some time in hospital and with the outpatient team at the brain injury unit at Hampstead. You've said you're now in a position where you've accepted what's happened and have really embraced what you call the silver lining of having a brain injury. Can you tell us all what motivates you to stay so positive?
My 3 kids and my dad, they are the best thing that has ever happened to me. They motivate me every day to be the best possible mum that I can be. I'm grateful every day for the fact that I walked out of the hospital alive and to get to spend time with them. I've been given a second chance and I make the most of it every single day. I'm so much more. This is what I need everyone to hear. More than anything in this, what I'm about to say, this is what I need everyone to hear. I'm so much more than that seizure in KFC. I don't want to be defined by what happened that day.
Can we give that a clap? And again, it's Tammy, it's you owning your story. You've been working with your team of therapists to process your injury and its challenges. Tell us a bit about what you've achieved over the past 2 years and what has helped you along the way.
A lot's changed. I have had a consistent group of therapists that I have had learnt and to trust. I've felt grounded and supported to grow. I want to say this. I would love to thank Ed. He's not here at the moment. Also, Judy and my number 1, Catherine. You guys have no idea how much you've helped me, and I wouldn't be where I am without you guys. And there is always one person there when I need you when I need anyone the most. And I want to thank you, thank you, thank you. And that is Miss Louise.
And I believe Louise works at the Elizabeth Hub, is that right, Louise? You work at the Elizabeth Hub,
Yeah.
is that right? Wonderful. It sounds like a pretty great team.
Oh, it's an amazing group. Everyone there is absolutely brilliant. They've just got a brilliant group of people there.
It sounds like it's really important to have that support around
Yeah.
you. So what are some of the things you've achieved over the past 2 years?
I feel more confident to do things for myself, especially making decisions. Having the right kind of support around me has made me feel really important. I need people that involve me in things, who don't think or do things for me and allow me to make mistakes and notice when I need help. My relationships with people are really important.
And what are some of the things you've achieved in terms of the future? What would you like the future to look like now?
Like the discovery phase.
Exactly.
I'm really excited about the future. I've been part of the group program and have been discovering what I can contribute and how I can be help to others. I'm looking to becoming a peer mentor. I've started doing things for myself. I really want to give back to the brain injury community and help others in their journey.
And just building on that, can you tell us a bit more about your perspective on having a brain injury? You've said to...
I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I'm okay with the fact that I have a brain injury. I got to walk out of the hospital with my 3 kids. I look at things differently now. I'm a lot more grateful for everything in my life. I don't sweat the small stuff. Maybe the number of knockdowns I've had in my life has helped me become this resilient. I'd rather laugh than cry.
It's wonderful advice for us all. And speaking of advice, what would you say to those who are processing their own injury, whether that's something recent or something they've been managing for some time?
I know it's tough. It's not a straightforward journey. Life isn't always kind. Make good decisions for yourself. When it gets too hard, don't ever be afraid to ask for help. That's a huge one. Make the most of the second chance you were given. You were given it for a reason. Find out what your purpose is. Mine has always been my 3 kids, and now it looks like to give back. I want it to be to give back to the brain injury community.
And Tammy, by coming up here today, which is a brave thing to do, and telling us a bit about your story and your journey, you are giving back to the community. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Tammy, for sharing your insights with us. I'd now like to ask Rick Howe from the Lifetime Support Authority, or LSA, up to the stage to present this year's Embrace Life After Brain Injury Award. A big clap for Rick.
Thank you, Isabel. The Lifetime Support Authority is proud to be the presenting party today. We provide treatment, care and support to participants who sustain very serious injuries in motor vehicle accidents in South Australia. Around 70% of the participants that we look after have traumatic brain injuries as a result of those accidents. And over the last 10 years, the LSA has supported around 336 participants with a brain injury to try to lead the life of their choice. And what a privilege it is to present this award again this year and to hear the inspiring and empowering stories of people who have lived experience of ABIs. Again, we've received many nominations for this award, making it a difficult task to choose who the recipient was. And all of you deserve the recognition as a result of that. Thank you to those people who actually saw these amazing achievements and nominated and took time to make the nominations for the awards. And so, without further ado, I move to the award winner this year. So, the 2024 recipient of the Embrace Life After Brain Injury Award is Sue Ellen Drew. Congratulations. A little bit about Sue Ellen. In 2018, Sue Ellen was assaulted in her workplace while she was providing care as a registered nurse. This traumatic event resulted in Sue Ellen experiencing numerous significant symptoms, rendering her unable to work, drive, or independently leave her life as a mum. She encountered an extremely challenging journey, navigating many different health practitioners, investigations, and assessments to diagnose the cause of those symptoms, often feeling like no one believed her or understood what she was experiencing or why. Sue Ellen was navigating all this while being one of the primary caregivers for her mum, who had a terminal illness and sadly passed away in 2022. Eventually, the cause of her symptoms that were stealing Sue Ellen's independence were diagnosed, and she found the support of some key health professionals, where for the first time she felt heard and understood. By engaging diligently in all the therapy, exercises and activities that her team put in place, Sue Ellen has seen a significant improvement in her symptoms. She's regained her confidence and understood how to manage the residual symptoms and navigate life situations as independently as possible. Despite her own challenges, Sue Ellen was always so encouraging and supporting of others and keen to share her experiences to help others understand that they weren't alone or going crazy, but rather were experiencing the often hidden and misdiagnosed symptoms of traumatic brain injury and post-concussion syndrome. Her vibrant personality and contagious laugh that she was so well known for by those around her pre-injury were starting to emerge again, and clearly her nursing experience and empathy came through in her interactions with others at Birch. Based on this, her speech therapist Liz suggested that Sue Ellen would make a great peer mentor at Brain Injury SA, and in April this year she's commenced volunteering at BISA as a mentor and has thrived and found such purpose from this. Sue Ellen's been further invited to be a guest speaker as a person with lived experience at the upcoming 9th National Brain Injury Conference in September, where she'll be presenting about her experience with binocular vision dysfunction post-head injury. This is a massive step and highlights her incredible progress. As an additional example of how she's embracing life after ABI, Sue Ellen is pregnant with her second child and is coping so well with the changes and challenges that pregnancy brings. A few years ago, Sue Ellen would never have contemplated being able to have another child, and her severe neurological symptoms hampered every aspect of her life. But now, thanks to the team at Birch, her psychologist, orthoptist and BISA, and her incredible resilience and determination to get better, this is all possible. So congratulations to Sue Ellen. Now, am I able to invite Sue Ellen to come up? There she is. I'll ask you to come in. I'm sure congratulations. If you could hold that up for them as well. Would you like to say a few words? Is that okay? That's okay. Do you want me to hold this whilst you do that?
Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm going to talk a bit slow because I get a bit breathless. Luckily I found out about this on Friday, so I've had some time to get over the shock of being nominated and actually winning this award. Firstly, I'd like to sincerely thank you, the sponsors, for this award. Sorry, I get very breathless. As a person living with invisible injury secondary to a concussion, I have often felt so unseen, unheard, judged and completely defeated, but not today. Secondly, thank you to my bestie Nicole for nominating me for this award and truly believing I was deserving of such an award. Sorry, I'm a bit emotional. I'm so proud to stand here today amongst many others in this room who understand the struggles and say I made it, I never gave up. Thank you to the love of my life, Jaden, my little boy Harry, my auntie Shell and my best friends. I wouldn't be where I am today without you guys. I feel so honoured to be the recipient of this award and would like to broadly thank every person who has helped me on my journey. There have been so many important people and I will never forget those people, including you, Liz. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm very excited to start the next chapter of my life, welcoming our second baby boy in 8 weeks now, something I never thought possible after my head injury. Thank you.
Thank you both, and congratulations, Sue Ellen. I'd now like to welcome the Chief Executive of Brain Injury SA, Liz Forsyth, to the stage, joined by Melissa Hartman. They're both going to say a few words about an exciting new chapter for BISA.
I'd just like to start by thanking everybody who's come today, those who've been before and those who this is their first experience of Brain Injury Awareness Week. It's become a really important date in our calendar to recognise all the experiences that people who have brain injury have. For over 33 years, BISA has existed in the community as an organisation committed to addressing the needs of the brain injury community. It was my great privilege to know at least one of the founders at the time of its creation, Dawn Brooks, whose family experience identified the importance of a specialist focus for the needs of people impacted by brain injury. That there were unique needs for people with brain injury within the disability service sector, not least because of its complexity of impact and its capacity to change over time with the right level of support therapy. We have an archive at BISA that documents its way, the way this important organisation has ridden the waves of government funding whilst driving service development and delivery. Early times of complete austerity, funding provided, funding taken away, and the introduction of the NDIS allowing individual needs to be recognised in a much more comprehensive way. And we're now entering a new phase of funding reform in changes planned for the NDIS, but this time the individual user has been drawn into the pressure of what funding they can and can't access from services and supports. Important for BISA has been being absolutely clear as to why we exist, that the prevalence of brain injury is likely higher in the community than is reported, already high at an estimated 1 in 45 people experiencing that and being impacted, including those impacted from mild TBI, such as concussion, and the experience which can be acute and both chronic at the same over time. Behind each experience of brain injury, there is a unique story, if you've heard some of those today, of how a person's life is changed and impacted, that brain injury creates a cascade of challenges for the individual and their family, and that brain injury can be life-changing, but not life-stopping. And I'm going to call on Mel to tell us just a little of her story and why support is so valuable in managing these changes.
Found it. Going to do some sounds as well. I would like to start with a quote from Dr. Gabor Mate, which is, "Trauma is not what happened to you, but what happens inside you as a result of what happened to you. This is my story. Dun dun." I love being with my friends, attending music festivals and nights out in town. Took some photos, couldn't wait to get married and have a family, and dreamed of becoming a psychologist. I went to Bali and the South Island of New Zealand, which is my favourite place in the world. I worked in retail and office admin. I loved the hustle and bustle of working in busy stores and being able to talk and communicate to customers. I imagined how my future would look so much when I was young, and I couldn't wait to experience what life had in store for me. Fast forward, I met a man and we had 2 beautiful children, Mason and Ayla. My heart was immediately full and I really loved being a stay-at-home mum. My heart was filled with watching and teaching the kids how to walk and talk at a very young age, and I taught them so many different things. We spent many hours playing in the backyard, visiting family and friends, and being part of so many awesome experiences. I spent ages looking at kindies and schools that would be the best fit for them, and was so grateful for every day that I got to wake up to them. I was made to be a mum. In 2021, I was a single mum. Mason and Ayla and I had just moved into a new rental after the previous one was sold, and we were looking forward to being settled. Ayla was so excited to start kindy. Mason had spent the year playing footy for Happy Valley, and I spent the season being the team's first aider for their games. We were so excited to spend the summer at the beach. I spent my occasional kid-free nights out dancing with my besties, having an absolute blast. Life was relatively stress-free and full of fun. On August 26, 2021, I was getting ready to go on a date when a friend popped by to see me. I greeted him at the door when I suddenly had a coughing fit. I ran to my bedroom to get my water bottle when I collapsed and had a sudden cardiac arrest. Hearing me collapse, my friend ran into my room, found me unresponsive on the floor, so rang 000 and immediately started CPR. This saved my life. My heart had stopped, and when paramedics arrived, due to having already been given CPR, my heart went into a shockable rhythm and I was given 7 shocks with a defibrillator and 3 rounds of adrenaline. My heart would stop and start multiple times. I was loaded into the ambulance and put in an induced coma at Flinders ICU. I had less than 1% chance of survival and nobody expected me to last the night. One thing you'll learn from me is that I'm stubborn and very determined. I got to experience the other side and I could see my son and daughter, and as at peace as I was not ready. While in a coma, I was given brain scans and wrapped in cooling blankets to keep me cool to reduce any brain damage. During the scans, no brain damage was seen, but they did discover a pituitary adenoma growing in my pituitary gland. Later on, with more scans, they found another one. My family tells me that I was brought out of the coma and spent 2 days in ICU trying to talk to a towel on a chair before being transferred to the cardiac care unit because my heart rate was unstable and they wanted to investigate why I'd had the sudden cardiac arrest. I had my first memory waking up in the cardiac ward and saw my dad sitting in front of the window. I knew I was in hospital, but I had no idea why. I couldn't remember anything, and because my ribs and sternum were broken, I thought I'd been in a car accident. I called for my dad and realised my speech sounded funny. Dad came over to the bed and got a nurse to come and see me. She told me I'd been in a coma for a week and had suffered a cardiac arrest, and after I'd come out of the coma, it was obvious I had a brain injury and was diagnosed with a hypoxic brain injury secondary to a sudden cardiac arrest. I was immediately given intensive speech therapy and had to relearn how to walk and talk. The feelings of confusion, shock, and sadness were overwhelming, and I really thought my life was over. Why are they trying to teach me these kinds of things when I have no quality of life? I was showered by nurses. I was spoon-fed after learning how to safely swallow food and fluids. Family members spent their time with me, trying to get me to remember who I was and who they were to me. And I spent the days looking out of the hospital window wondering why this had happened to me. Did I do something wrong? If there is something wrong with me, could it be something that affects my children too? I was transferred to the Hampstead Rehabilitation Centre, where I was placed in the Brain Injury Rehabilitation Unit, BIRU as it's called. This was both life-changing in the best way and in the worst way. My mental health plummeted here. I was so far away from Mason and Ayla, as well as my family and friends. People tried calling me, but I was still learning how to communicate properly. I would be so happy whenever the nurses' rounds would come round, and I could only talk to them for a few minutes, but then when I did try, I still didn't have that process of communication, so I couldn't get the words out properly. And then before I could talk, they were off to the next patient. One of the biggest breakthroughs was discovering the power of music. The speechies and OTs discovered that by listening to songs, I was able to piece together memories that became my biggest tool in my recovery. Mason and Ayla's dad, Adrian, drove Mason and Ayla out to see me at Hampstead sometimes twice a week. When he couldn't drive them to see me, he would video call, send videos of the kids, and dropped off pictures and cards they had made me. This was my biggest driving force to keep pushing through to get home to be mum. It was in Hampstead that a worker told me I would be there for 2 years, and even if I could get back home, I would have support workers with me 24/7, helping me shower, toilet, and look after my kids. And they also mentioned that they would be living with their dad most likely full time. I thought, who am I if you take away my kids? There's not really much left of me. I said, I'll be out of here in less than that. I fought so hard, and I made it my goal to walk myself out of the door, and I did that just 6 weeks later. I told them, and I sure showed them. Upon returning home, I was overwhelmed. I'd medically lost my licence and really struggled with my fatigue and my moods. I was in my own home finally, but had family with me round the clock. Adrian would bring Mason and Ayla over to stay at mine overnight, and these visits with the kids helped me realise I really needed to work hard to show everyone that I will have them living back with me, and it would just be me supporting them. With this, I worked hard with a psychologist, a speech therapist, and occupational therapists and physiotherapists. The psychologist was the one who suggested Brain Injury SA to me and got the ball rolling for me to join them. I was approved for the NDIS and excitedly mentioned BISA to be able to start with them as soon as possible. At the time, I didn't have enough funding to get frequent psychological help, so they suggested Gab, their counsellor. I met with Gab and started looking forward to the future. With her guidance, support and incredible patience, God bless her, she has the biggest smile and words of encouragement when I tell her anything. And I remember when I told her I went to the dentist and went all on my own, that was something I was terrified of, but I did it. I developed strategies to manage my day-to-day life. I challenged negative thought patterns. I set intentions, forward focus, am so mindful of how I interact and react now to stress, anger and fear. She has guided me to find ways to manage my fatigue, see the importance of boundary setting, live in a way that aligns with the values of what's really important, my capacity to parent, and most importantly, to find my purpose from this. What's the lesson? Remain forward focused. I loved going to my appointments and reading about all the fun activities BISA offer. One big thing I noticed was that a lot of the people in the waiting area were people who, like me, had their lives changed without warning in a split second, and they understood how it felt having their life flipped upside down. They too understand the frustration at needing to put the pieces back together. I love talking to the people and the staff at BISA when I'm there, and I've developed lifelong friendships through the mentor program. Hi, Lockie and Jess. I was thrilled to discover the programs I could join. The gardening group and the cooking classes were two of my favourites and two that I really needed. I was really looking forward to them, but was disheartened when I was told that attending these would use up my funding for the NDIS, and I wouldn't be able to join them. I would have to reduce my counselling sessions, which would be detrimental to me, so I haven't been able to participate. Being able to participate in any of the sessions that BISA offer would really increase my social and wellbeing skills and make me feel included within the community. I see the word ability in disability. Doctors say you need to accept this diagnosis and just live with it, but they need to say, I believe you are more than this and you still have the potential to do so many things in the world. I believe that with the support of doing these sessions with BISA, it benefits us in so many ways to rehabilitate and give us some sense of normalcy again. For so many of us, reducing our current therapies to be able to participate in these will be steps back in our progress, and again, seems so unfair that we have had to look at making that choice. I cannot explain how difficult it is for me to do simple things around the house, like gardening, to be able to be taught how to look after a garden and not kill anything, and to bring this knowledge home to my children so we can plant flowers and vegetables together fills my heart and fills me with so much pride. I've had to teach myself to cook again, which has been incredibly stressful and at a significant personal expense to myself, which impacts when every year I look at my rent increase and have to see what I can afford to go without to be able to keep moving forward. This is the case for many other participants at BISA, and with your generous contributions moving forward, you can watch us all flourish. We didn't choose to be this way, but we have the choice to move forward and fight to regain our independence, our dignity, and our lives. Since 2021, I've been in a relationship with a wonderful man named Blake. I met him a few months after returning home. In that time, he's seen the best of me and the absolute worst of me. In that time, I've been able to watch Ayla graduate kindy and proudly walk her into school for her first day. I passed my driving test and got my driver's licence back, which is fantastic. It allows me to take Mason and Ayla to school. I've driven them to their pop and grandma's in Stansbury. I've gone to travel and stay in Ceduna, Renmark and Keith with Blake, and we love driving around discovering new places to visit with the kids. I chose Varnacare to support me in day-to-day tasks, and with their fantastic support workers, I've rediscovered a zest for swimming, going to my favourite local cafe, Cheesy Grins, to order food and coffee on my own without muddling the words, and have participated in medical trials related to brain injury and life moving forward. I'm proud to say I don't have my support workers 24 hours a day, and they have really helped me improve my independence, my fight to better my future, and my dreams of being the best mum and partner. A life lesson I had was that brain injury doesn't just affect you, it affects those around you too. By being able to participate in more activities that BISA offers without the financial strain on us creates a domino of success instead of failures. Thank you.
That's lovely. Thank you, Mel, for the courage to talk about what happened and sharing what you've achieved since then. BISA recognises that government funding cannot fund everything that we do. As we grow our team and our specialist expertise, we also identify the potential scope for reaching more people, assisting more families, offering more support and education in the community to ease the adjustments that people need to make after brain injury and help rebuild lives with strength, hope and empowerment. Creation of the BISA Foundation has been a logical step in the journey for this organisation that wants brain injury better understood and accommodated, that people are assisted to live the life they can and want, and that we can embrace new technology and research that further enables and enriches the lives of people we assist. We also want to ensure that those who wish to help us with donation or grant, that we can demonstrate clearly how those funds are put to good use, filling gaps, driving new, addressing more. It's my great pleasure to launch the Brain Injury SA BISA Foundation today amongst so many who know what I'm talking about, and look forward to seeing how it can take BISA forward for the next 33 years and beyond. Thank you, Faith Thorley, I'm struggling with my words, for the use of her art in us promoting the BISA Foundation. And it's beautiful and symbolic, and I hope you'll have a chance to have a look at the postcard that's been on everybody's chair. We want to be able to address unmet need both responsively and responsibly. And we're very thankful to the sponsors of this launch of the BISA Foundation, Ordminet and Shield Insurance Brokers. And I'm going to let Alison Perrott of Ordminet is going to share her thoughts on why they saw the importance of supporting this initiative.
Hi all, Alison Perrott here from Ordminet. So sorry I cannot be with you today, but I send my heartfelt congratulations to you, Brain Injury SA, for the major decision to launch the BISA Foundation. As an investment advisor, I personally have dedicated over 30 years to the for-purpose sector, specialising in advice to disability, aged care and charitable organisations like yourselves. Sound financial management and ensuring your organisation is around for the long term is absolutely top of my priority list. Ordminet and I are very proud to be your corporate partner on this journey, and it is a journey. I personally know all too well the impact of brain injury, with my brother falling asleep at the wheel and given a 10% chance of living, 6 months in a coma, and never officially waking up. Now, 21 years later, a few gold medals in field archery at a national level, and a current love of lawn bowls, my brother leads a full and wonderful life, and he continues to defy the odds. So I am really looking forward to partnering with you, and congratulations once again on starting the foundation. Have a great night, everybody, and I hope to see you very, very soon.
Thank you very much from Alison and Ordminet and also Shield Insurance Brokers for supporting us. Thank you to everyone for coming today, and I'm going to pass back to Isabel to wrap up and close the proceedings.
What an exciting day it is, launching the foundation, the BISA Foundation. Please support the raffle that we have going today. There are some fantastic prizes. I'll quickly whip through them. First prize, probably better for some in the room than others in terms of who you're barracking for in the AFL, a round of golf with Taylor Wokka. I heard some big boos down here, but please still support the raffle, whether or not you go for the Crows. We've got a $150 gold class cinema voucher as second prize, and in third prize, a Pamper pack from the Body Shop. So wonderful prizes. Please do support the raffle today. I'd again like to warmly thank today's guest speakers and our event sponsors, the Lifetime Support Authority, Scarlet Home Care, Anderson's Solicitors, Medimart and Beneficent, and a huge thank you to our foundation sponsors, Ordminet, Shield Insurance and Sports Centre. Before you head off today, Brain Injury SA is in the middle of conducting a community survey that we welcome every single person in this room to please complete. The survey is designed to create a better understanding of the needs of the ABI community to shape the future of Brain Injury SA and its services. It's really important that as many people as possible share their thoughts for the survey, so you'll find a QR code on the flyer on your seat and computers in the foyer for anyone who wants to complete the survey before they leave. I also encourage all of you to take a final look at our exhibition out in the foyer before you go as well, and please have a chance to stop and chat to the exhibitioners as well before you head off. Thank you one final time for all your support for Brain Injury Awareness Week 2024. Please make the most of this year's Awareness Week by engaging with the many learning and awareness opportunities on offer over the coming days, and go out today and share with others in your communities the insights from today's launch. Thank you and have a great Awareness Week.